What is up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another live stream. My name's Lewis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I remind you to upgrade your skills before your gear. This is week 51 of our weekly live stream consecutively, so thank you for stopping by and spending your time here with me. It's always highly appreciated. And we're gonna get things started with the subject that I decided to speak about today, English, Lewis, which I decided to call baby grip gear, which is basically the type of grip gear that we use that is not full-fledged like videography equipment. Aiden is having a blast now because he was just quiet until it's showtime, and then it's time to just make all the noise. But I digress. With that being said, let's check to see who's in the chat first before I start ranting off about gear. Say what's up to the fam. All right, we got Scott in the house saying hello to everyone. Art Carrasco. What it is, what it be, what it do, mi gente. How are you doing, sir? What it do. I like that. And Mario is here saying hello to me and friends. All right, cool. Well, to get things started, right? Baby grip gear, right? This is for those of you who are not familiar what grip is. Grip is a term that we use in the film industry, and like when it comes to making movies, is basically all the equipment that you're going to be talking about when it comes to lighting, setup, so on and so forth. When you start talking about C-stands, boom mics, tripods, dollies, tracks, everything that has to do with the production side of making a recording, a film, a movie, anything like that is what is considered to be called grip or grip gear or grip equipment. You might have heard of a term called like a gaffer, and a gaffer is basically like lead technician when it comes to the grip and that side of the equipment. So what I've decided to call this is baby grip gears, basically the type of gear that we use that is not, like I said, full-fledged, but serves the same purpose. Like one of them that I've mentioned before that I love using is articulating arms, which are, like friction arms. Give you a quick example. This is a, like a clamp. Let me see if we can get it to focus. There we go. You can see we have a heavy duty metal clamp, and it is on this articulating arm. It has this little, like switch here, or basically lever to loosen and to tighten. Once you loosen, it gets, malleable in every joint, basically here at the center, and also basically like ball heads at each end. And what you have is a quarter 20. See if we can get that in there. A quarter 20 on each end, giving you full flexibility. And whenever you have something set, you just tighten it there. And now with the tight, this thing is solid as a rock. I use this for pretty much everything. And I started by actually using these clamps to clamp onto my desk here, like my desk cage. But what I actually ended up using was just the quarter 20s themselves, because there was these preset screw holes or machine screw holes that were set throughout the entire like grill of that shelf. And what I did was just convert them from what they were using a tap and die. And the die set allowed me to, actually the tap allowed me to rework those threads into 1/4-20s. So now the entire set of holes that are along this cage here are all 1/4-20, allowing me to connect both sides either to the frame itself and then the other side to cage, you know, for my camera. So basically you would just joint the two, if I could. And you would have something similar to this. You can take a look at it there. See, and having the 1/4-20 connected to the cage itself, and then having the ability to actually clamp it here allowed me to get my top-down shots, everything like that. Effectively, that right now the camera that you're looking at, and even my side camera here on the side. Okay, see if we got that. That went somewhere that I wasn't expecting. Okay, camera B over here, right? This also are all hanging off of my cage, off of the articulating arms that I have all throughout. I have quite a few. So that's one of my favorite, like hands down kind of baby grip gear, because this gives me versatility for so many things. I've also have a video on my channel where a short little video where I actually show how I use this to be a makeshift handle for my cage itself, because it, you know, as soon as you like knock it or like tighten it down, this thing isn't going anywhere. So if you have it connected to your actual cage, it's actually going to... Oh, somebody just got me some coffee. Oh, John. Thank you, John. Much appreciated. And for that. Oh, the Upgrade Your Skills coffee mug, which is available at the merch shop. So thank you, John. I appreciate it. Caffeine definitely keeps me going. Keeps this production going. So this being one of these things. One of the newest things that I actually got my hands on, which has been a compliment to my articulating arms and just totally changed my entire setup, because, you know, even though this is completely versatile, right? Just to give you an example, if I wanted to mount it onto these screw holes that I have here in my cage, I'm going to have to like set up the articulating arm, and I'm gonna have to screw it. So I'm gonna have to manually go here and then start screwing in like I'm showing you right now. And once it gets the grip, then, you know, I'll continue to just, you know, just tighten it, and I'm showing you the entire process. Then once it's tight, okay, now I have something where I actually could use it as an articulating arm, mount a camera, a light, so on and so forth. And in that same manner, just like that, so that you can see, just like that, is basically how I have the camera hanging off to said right here. So the latest thing that has totally changed this entire setup is the Yulonzi quick claw, quick release, like just unit. So let me show you exactly what this is looking like. This is half of it, and oh, here. This is the Yulonzi quick claw. Okay. And what it is basically a base plate. And you can see it also has those little indentations. That's for the arca Swiss. So I can take this little base right here and mount it to my tripod. And as soon as I mount it to my tripod, I now have a quick release locking system that is built right in. So as you can see, that little red knob is also the button that you would use to the inside to release said clamps. So the base that's here, right, we can lock in, has all four sides and has the gaps. So it really doesn't matter how you place it, but as soon as you do, it locks. And with that being nice in place, gives you the ability to just slide that over. And now that being in the lock position doesn't allow you to press down to release this, being a very, very secure system to use as a quick release for your camera, so on and so forth. Because I have my cameras hanging and I actually don't use them that much in the tripod, I actually have got my hands on 4 of them. What I did was just put them on the end of my articulating arm. So as you can see, now I have 2 quick release at the end of the articulating arms, and now this gives me a lot more versatility, for the reason that the clips that would go here, I actually mounted into those screw holes. So whenever now that I mount a light with this system, I can easily, or see if you can hear it, clip it on, have the articulating arm giving me all the flexibility, and if I want to move it to a different position, it is as simple as disconnecting and reconnecting. And that's how fast I am able to move the articulating arms, comparative to what I just showed you and how long it takes me to screw in and screw out, including that I would have to do it on the cage for the cameras themselves as well. So this combination right now, which I would say my articulating arms with the Yulonzi quick claw, quick release system here, this has just been a game changer for all the little nuances that I do here within my desk setup. I'm able to connect lights, connect my cameras, so instead of just breaking down the ones that I have more that are more secure, kind of saying the ones that are more fixed to the system, to my live stream, whenever I need a top down shot or anything like that, I'm able to easily take down one of the cameras, attach it to this, and position it wherever I want, like extremely fast. And the fact that the articulating arms give you so much flexibility in a speed manner as well is just like adding speed onto speed. And now this, hands down, has just been a game changer, that now I just want to get Yulonzi clips for every single little like space that I can put them on there, and grab as many as I possibly can. So that's another thing that I've recently got my hands on. They are amazing. And then, like I said, just a little added bonus on top that you can, we can see if we can get some light on there. They have all the like mounting screw holes there. They're all 1/4-20s. With that being said, the Arca Swiss makes it really convenient because you're able to just grab a tripod and just clamp it on there, and now you have a quick release system with the ball head, and you don't have to do an entire changing of the entire head to get a quick release system. And as simple as you can put on the Arca Swiss, you can take it off, so it makes it super convenient. Another thing that I got my hands on just this week, and I put a post for those of you who are in the LGL community that about this new light that I just got my hands on, and I wanted to make because I got it just like a day ago. So I was on Amazon checking, just scrolling, and I saw this RGB light. It looked very similar to the Yulonzi one, right? But it was a different brand called Mini Focus. So let me show you the light itself. Focus on the Mini Focus. There we go. Mini Focus, full RGB. And this little light, I picked it up on Amazon for $12. Why did I grab it? Because it was $12. So I was like, $12, this wasn't even a Black Friday deal. I was like, let me go just check it out, right? Because it could be junk, but you could spend more on lunch. So I decided to make me some food at home, and I ordered this light. I am highly impressed with this light. It is very similar to the latest Yulonzi output. It has a magnetic back, so like for me and this entire cage, love the fact that I can just put it anywhere and it's going to stick, giving me the ability to just shine light in a lot of different places. But what's more impressive is the light output itself. So let's see if we can show. look at how I just saturated that entire wall behind me with this small little light. Like, it is pretty ridiculous the amount of light that this thing is outputting. And right now that's at just 50%. Full color spectrum. And not only is the quality of the light really good, but it's actually fairly soft. So let's change the mode here. Okay, so I have it at 6,000 Kelvin at 55%. I'm going to bring it down to 25%. Actually, you know what? Down to 20. And let's change the temperature because it has pretty much the full spectrum. Right now, this is 2,500 Kelvin. So as you can see, it is extremely warm, and this is just 20% on this light. And it's also battery powered via USB-C. And let's change that all the way to 9,000 Kelvin, which is extremely cool. And you can see extremely bright. You could even see the shadow that is casting behind me. This is 20%, and it would totally blow out. So this is just right off the bat really highly impressive for $12, because that is a lot of functionality comparative to my previous RGB light, or not. It's not even an RGB, it's just my LED light. Now, mind you, I've had this for years. This is a Yongnuo light. I'm gonna just turn it on to show you the differences. There's no temperature control. There's literally just on and off. Let's see. That actually looks pretty soft, right? But if you were to be able to see it here, I have the ability to see that, like, it shows up every little individual light on here. So I can see the grid of LEDs. And like I said, it literally just has one temperature, like on, and that's it. So this, that on its best day, comparative to the size as well, right? On its best day, this will give me about an hour and a half of charge. Let's just say this was a lot more expensive than this $12 light, right? And like I said, I know it's a lot older, but it really goes to show you how far we've come with technology and all of this, because this has no CRI. And for those of you who are not familiar with CRI, that stands for Color Rendition Index. It's basically how true to life are the colors that you're getting from the LEDs. And that's what is really not transmitting through the lens right now. But I can see, looking at each individual LED on this one, that like the color changes between LEDs right next to each other. So there's no real like quality control or consistency through the lights. So it's maybe just the quality of the LEDs themselves that just change color throughout time. But you know, it's a completely different type of system comparative to what we're dealing here, because these are little COBs, which are called circuit on board. So it's a completely different system. And then the last thing about this light, right, is that it also has like scene modes. So I'm gonna change it from, this is the full color, so let me bring down the intensity here as well, so that we can actually show what's going on. So this is the light at 2%. Let's bring it up a little bit so we can show some saturation. Okay. And now I'm going to change the full spectrum. As you can see, we're going from red to orange to yellow. Now we're hitting the greens, blues, and we're just running through the entire 360 spectrum. And this, it's actually really good. So now, with that being said, I'm going to once again change the mode, and you can see that it does have a color change mode. And this is where it gets interesting, because this is just a color shift, but it has scenes. So for example, this is called like star or flashing. I say more paparazzi. This one's called laser. Lightning. So if I want to pretend like there's a lightning storm, I'm like, whoa, there's this, you know. So it actually gives you ability to increase production. Which is the next one? This is called the faulty bulb. You can see like if you were in a, and you're like, zzz, zzz. You see like this is it just allows you to be very creative, and for the price, incredible. This is what we call TV. That's a really bright TV. But this one's candlelight, or like this one's pretty cool. This is the Fireplace. So as you can see, like it looks like this one's actually really good when it comes to like the warmth and everything like that. I'm even thinking about making like a little makeshift fire and throwing this on there to see exactly what it looks like, all well done. But this is also something that could be a light that you can throw into like a pumpkin, for like Halloween or something like that. It's got so many uses. And then on top of that has like police. Like that one's really good, man. I gotta give it up to, and I just throw this up here, and now it's magnetized. So now I'm like, yo, we got the entire cops here. We're like, sir, I didn't do anything. And the colors are really good. So I'm just telling you from like what I'm seeing, like it will totally change the scene. So when I saw this and I was like, yo, this thing is really impressive for $12 or $13. And I'm like, so I shared it on Facebook with the community. And this one's even called SOS. So like I said, this is also something that could be good just to carry in your car as well, in case you're in a situation where you can use this as a replacement to a flare. But I went back on Amazon because I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick up another one because it's nice to have a pair. And apparently me sharing it and stuff like that, I'm talking about within a day or two, because with Amazon Prime, this thing got to me like the next day. And when I went back today, right, to check it out again, it already like doubled in price. So I started looking for it again. It's no longer $12, it's like $22, going on $24, $25. But even at that price, I still think it's worth it with the quality of light that this is coming out. Now, I don't know exactly comparative to the price for, of the Yulonzi, but I don't see it being any different at all. I actually think it could be from the same factory, like the same exact thing, just rebranded. So Yulonzi being a brand that I do trust, including these quick release claws that I'm absolutely in love with. These things are amazing. Look at that, just absolutely hooked with them. This light really came in handy, and I know I'm gonna be using it a lot more in my production, especially it's pretty soft for it being such a small light, and usually the smaller the light source, the harder or the harsher the light is. But I was pleasantly surprised with the kind of like the diffusion that's built into this light. So far so good. The only thing is, let's see how durable they are. But like I said, at $12, this was like a no-brainer. 25, you might want to do a little bit consumer report or research, but I'm definitely gonna leave a good review so far. From my experience personally, like I'm really surprised with this magnetic back. They're really stepping up the game, and that really goes to show you that it's really hard to kind of find real bad stuff nowadays, like depending on what it is that you're looking for. But when it comes to RGB lights, everyone's pretty much batting, pretty well. Everyone's doing well. This really goes to show you that like they're really honing in on the technology, and it being a video light, no flicker. So you don't have to worry about lights flickering, and whether you're shooting 24 frames a second, 30, 60, 100. It's been good, and so once again, highly impressed with this. Now, I'm gonna go check on the chat because I still got some more stuff to talk about, some other things. The latest actual like upgrade that I did to my system that has really changed everything for the better. I'm gonna get to that in a little bit, so just hold on tight right there. See exactly what's going on here. All right, we got a lot in the chat. I'm pulling a Diana here. Okay, so Sammy's saying what's up. How long ago was this? How long was I ranting for? See if it gives me the time. 11:01. Okay, 25 minutes. I'm 25 minutes back. Okay. Okay, Greg Crawford says, first time catching me live. Well, welcome. Thank you for saying hello. And I'm sure everyone's already said hello to you and giving you the Camera Junkie welcome. Says, looking nice. Thank you, Sammy. Just saying thanks. Well, thank you, John. I really do appreciate you, sir. It says, small rig can be life-saving. Yes. I actually love like the cages and everything like that, but you know, like not always to be on. I use them mostly here, you know, and especially like when they're hung up. That's how I have my small rigs or my cameras hung up right now, through the small rig cages. Michael De Leon, welcome, sir. He's saying, hope everyone is having a good weekend. I think so. We're all hanging out here. Good tunes, good people. Melanie is in the house saying hello to everyone, saying happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you. Says, any chance we can get a look at the behind the camera setup? Oh, I don't think I have it. Like, I don't have anything set up right now. And it's because my behind the scenes or my floating camera, which is this iPhone XR, is not really working. It's giving me a battery issue. It tries to turn on and then just shuts off, as you can see. And when I put it to charge, it says it turns on and then it says it has 0% battery. I need to look into it to see exactly what's going on. But that is my floating behind the scenes Epoch cam. So unfortunately, I won't be able to do that today. I do have a video on my channel right now. It says best live stream setup or best setup. And it's a quick like minute-and-a-half video of my stuff and how I have them set up right now. It also shows you my cameras, how I have them hung on my articulating arm, and even my DIY lighting setup here, because, you know, just to show everyone what you're seeing right here, my light, I'm gonna pull it off so that you can see it. This is a do-it-yourself kit with some magnets on the top. I made it out of foam board and an RGB light with a diffuser material here, which, as you can see now, this is way too harsh, but that's how I actually changed the bulb. So let me go in there and show you. See, that's a little bit of the behind the scenes. This is my light. This is a budget RGB light bulb. And if you're interested in finding out any of these things, I've been, you know, doing quite a lot this week, and that's what I'm going to get into, because one of the things that I'm also going to mention is a website called kit.co, which I spent a little time on and ended up putting up like pretty much a blueprint of all of the things that I'm using for my photography. So I put like my full frame photography in a like separate little kit. So if you're interested in finding out what I use for that, I have all that organized there. What I'm using for my live streams, what I'm using for, like, you know, like my baby grip gear, I have a section there for that as well, and I've been working on that, so it's really cool. If you're interested, it's in the description right now of this video, and you can click a link to my gear and it will take you to the kit.co. But I think I'm gonna go visit it, you know, like on the stream as well, to show you exactly what that's looking like. It says, oh, can it show another view of the arms? Let's see here. Let's go to this view here. See if this one works a little better. Let's see if that does anything better here. This is the articulating arm. And you know what? Let me show you how versatile they are. Because what I'm missing right here, right now, is light. So let's do this. Boom. Okay. I'm going to take this quick claw, right? And I'm going to disconnect it because I have a spigot already connected to it. I'm going to take my Yulonzi light and we're going to connect. And what we're doing here, this is what we call grip. We're gripping live right here on it. Okay, so now I'm gonna turn on the light. We're not gonna have it on SOS, and 9,000 Kelvin is way too cool. So let's bring that down, and we're gonna bring it down to 5600. We're at 20%, and we have it on. So now we have our light. I am now going to, let's see if I can, let's switch the camera here. And we're needing some light in this space here so that it can autofocus. So I am now taking off my second articulating arm here that's already connected to the cage, and I'm disconnecting it quickly. And now I'm going to show you again. We have the quick connect. Trying to cover my face because it's always going to look for my face. Okay, and now that we have that, I'm going to clip it onto the other one, lock it. And right here, as we can see, I'm going to quick connect said light number 2, lock it so you can see. And now, makeshiftly, I've just added another light that's hanging in the right position, now giving me the ability to bring up said objects and have them lit correctly. So now I just used an articulating arm to show you how versatile and how awesomely like convenient it is to have articulating arms. And knowing that that light there is at like 20%, it's fully charged, so it's only giving out 20% power. That light could just stay there for the rest of the live stream, and we'll keep on rolling. So hopefully that gave you a better look at the articulating arms themselves, and to show you how quick, you know, I take this, put it at the end, spin it, and now that Yulonzi clip is on that arm, and now I'm able to utilize this arm with said clamp here. Quick connect. I'm just so hooked on these Yulonzi's quick claws. They are just magic for me. Like for me, like for what I do here and try to be as like productive as possible, these are just, I'm in love with these. Absolutely in love. Okay, so Michael says it was actually just looking for something like this a few months ago. I have to check it off. Absolutely, I would definitely take a look at these. Like I said, the links are down there. I gotta thank 10 Camera Keith. He's the one who hooked me up with those. They are absolutely amazing. He found some other ones which he found that are more convenient because I think they're low profile. But these are just perfect for what I'm doing. So absolutely love them. Says, I guess that was the same question as Greg. Yep. Hopefully I gave you guys a better look at it. Rob is here in the house. It seems way more budget friendly than what I'm using on my gear. My Frodo quick release plate with the adapter. It's other piece of gear I have, even my phone mount. That's nice. I'll tell you one thing. I think these clips, they're like $30, so they're not like the most inexpensive thing, but the way that I'm using them, they're saving me so much time that I'm like, yeah. And one of the things that I've learned or am trying to learn is the fact that if it saves you time, it's worth it, because time is our most valued and most precious commodity. Art has a question. It says, have you had the chance to look at the updated versions of the articulating arm, supposed to fasten more securely at all points? I have, but the ones that are really expensive. Now, I must say, talking about articulating arms, because it's all in that kit.co, I made sure that I found the ones that I used, which is this brand, Toazo. Let me see if it comes through. Yep. Toazoe. So those are the ones that I put in my kit, and these are the ones that I've used myself. I've gotten some other ones even from Small Rig, different brands, and it depends on how they built it. Now, I'm just gonna give you a quick like a little like bit of advice when you're looking at these. If you're going on your own, you see that the tightening. I don't need what. I'm running a blank on this, but anyways, on the tightening mechanism here, right? If the back end right, where you see this, if it's not solid like this, I'm gonna tell you you're gonna have problems, because if it's a bolt that goes through both of them and it's not a sealed unit like this, you're most likely gonna have problems with them, because I've tried the cheaper, more inexpensive, and they don't last. They strip, and you're dealing with like not high quality metals themselves, so they end up like wearing out, and when you put any weight on them themselves, they go. So now, for example, for those of you who noticed, I set up something a little different back here to give a little bit of an aesthetic. But that TV right there is a 19-inch television, and I've held that TV up with these articulating arms, no problem. I'm just telling you, no problem. And why I do it was for a different style of recording. So let's say I wanted to move something away from the cage, I would put my camera on my tripod. Once it's on my tripod, for instance, it's usually not my A6100s. It's usually my A7R2, which doesn't have a flip screen. And for those of you who don't have flip screen on cameras, for a while now we've been using monitors, high definition monitors, whether it's, field recorders like the Ninja 5 or the Ninja V, however you would like to say it. But it doesn't stop the fact that it will produce a signal to anything that carries HDMI. So pro tip, any television that carries HDMI could be your monitor for your camera. So instead of purchasing a $600 field monitor for something like that, what I did was took that 19-inch television there, because it's not too big, but still 19 inches is not small, and I put that with an articulating arm clamped to the same tripod that I had my camera on, and then I just plug it all in, and when it's connected, I am seeing a frame of whatever it is that I'm recording on that monitor right there, on that television, and I'm getting a real-time view of what I'm recording, and it's like press record, continue, do a lot of different things. All that's being done with this articulating arm. Excuse me, I need to hydrate. So yeah, these things, I vouch for them, and these are the ones that I've used for myself. All right, somebody else got me some coffee. Gary Jones, how you doing, Gary? Thank you for stopping by, and much appreciated for all the caffeine. It's used correctly. The caffeine in my diet is utilized efficiently, weekly. Week in, week out. But, and to finish off that question, I have checked I think Manfrotto came out with a whole new set. I saw a video that Gerald Undone had made as well about these like high-end, but those high-end articulating arms, like, the one thing that I would tell you is that they're, I believe, a lot longer. So these, right, these are 11-inch, which basically gives you like a foot of articulation in any direction. Those, I believe, were like 2 to 3 feet, but then they were also like $100, $120, $150. So it is a completely different setup, and I don't take anything away from them. But for the price range, when you're talking about, I get mine for like $22 with all the little accessories. It really makes a difference when I don't think that I paid $100 for all of the articulating arms that I'm using right now currently, comparative to just one of those like really high-end ones. So like I said, not that I take anything away, but it says need links. It's there. So let me just double check, because I did spruce things up today. Yes. Okay, so underneath, Mike, for the links. Okay, if you click the little green check mark that says gear used in this video, you click that link and it'll bring you up to the kit.co, and that will have everything that I'm talking about here. Rob says that the audio is out of sync. Anyone else or just me? Likely just me. Quit YouTube or relaunch, same issue. Okay, John is saying that I'm in sync. Okay, but let me know if I'm not. Okay, so because I should be able to fix it, but I think I'm right with the sync. How you doing, sir? Welcome. He's saying hi, Mr. Camera Junkie and everyone. Tom Buck is in the house. How you doing, sir? Says, love this setup, Mr. Camera Junkie. Thank you. I appreciate it. I've been sprucing it up, you know, changing things up. This, I gotta tell you, this was a brainchild, and I was like, how can I do this? So, for example, what I've had there for a long time, you know, and this is just a side note, was an old iMac, and I have it off over here to the right. So I've had it there for a long time. It was working, but then the last time I went to go turn it on, it looked like the hard drive went kaput. And I literally was just using it to play some like YouTube videos for Aiden. So it wasn't that it was really being used, but I already knew it was on his last legs. The hard drive took a dump, so now it wasn't working, and my just really didn't feel like resetting up another hard drive at the moment for that computer. So I just left it there aesthetically. I wanted to be able to do something like this, but the one thing that I could never do with that computer was get this screensaver, which is off of the newer, you know, like Mojave type of operating systems on the Macs, because it was on Sierra, I believe, that old Mac, and it won't update to anything. So this screensaver wasn't even a possibility. So if I wanted a screensaver, it was going to be that old classic type of screensaver. So I kind of just left it off, but I always had that in the back of my head. And then I remembered that I had this television I wasn't utilizing, and I just have it here for, as you know, like when I'm going to use it. That's when it hit. Another thing that I had sitting on top here, which I was just looking at, I'm like, what am I going to do with this, was an old Apple TV. I think it's the second generation, right? Second generation Apple TV. I have two of those second gen Apple TVs. I have one set up over here on my main television, or basically saying Aiden's television. I don't really watch TV. So this one is a monitor for my camera, and that's where I play his cartoons. So like right now he's hanging out watching the cartoons there. The way that I put the cartoons on there, whether it's not like, let's say I'm not utilizing the application itself through the Apple TV, a lot of times I just put on some YouTube cartoons for him and I just airdrop it or airplay. So as I'm airplaying it, that's when it hit me. I'm like, I have a TV and an unused Apple TV. I connected them together, so now that's what's there. And I have an iPhone that is broadcasting this video that I did a screen recording of the screensaver that I had as my old intro to this live stream. And now that's what's playing in the background, my old intro loop. So now I have like a 12-minute loop of that screensaver just playing in the background, adding aesthetic to it. So I was like, that's the easy fix, and I get to use a couple of things that were just not being implemented because, you know, for no real reason in particular. So now I'm able to utilize two things that I wasn't, kind of like my old iPad. And now that just adds to the aesthetic of my live stream, and I actually think it looks really good, you know, mixing with the blues and the backlight coming from there. Just trying to improve, you know, like little bit by little bit. Dr. Elo is in the house. Diego Yonamine? I think I just said that wrong. Yonamini? But I'm not sure. He has a question. Sorry if I butchered your name. You can get at me and I'll have it corrected for next time. It would be reasonable to assume that the $12 light would break fast because of construction or chips. That's what I was thinking, but I looked into it. If you think that a Yulonzi light is gonna break and be bad, then this is the same as the Yulonzi light. And now, as you can see, there's not really that much of a price difference, because it looks like people started buying this light and recognizing that, hey, this is a good deal, like I had told everyone as well, and they got too many sales, and now they adjusted the price back to normal. And what I'm telling you is that the quality of light, like the colors that the cameras are seeing, are not off. And if you were to think that way, you could, but I'll give you one example. I've had this Yongno light, which is a piece of junk, and I've had it and it works, and they'll tell you years I've had this. 10 years. So if this is still going for 10 years for $12, even if it were to work for a year, it's kind of worth it, because I could spend $12 at Subway, getting a foot long or something, and that will last me lunch, that will last me an afternoon. But I don't see LEDs of this quality really going bad, because it's really hard for them to go bad. Besides you getting it wet, and electronics are not really designed to get wet, I don't see it being a problem. But like I said, I know I just had it for less than a week. I'm highly impressed with it, but we'll see in the long run. But I don't think that if that one lasted me for like 10 years, why this one would go bad. Just saying. It says, I've had the Yulonzi brand of those lights for about a year now. No issues from them so far. Did travel with them. Nothing broken yet. Yeah. And like I said, it's plastic. You understand? So, you drop it, you crush it, it's going to break. It's not like it's a metal housing, and you'll pay for that in other lights that are out there with like aluminum chassis and things like that, which I say are also great. But then it just depends on the budget. This was just great, because I believe the aperture lights, the MC90s, you can get a 4-pack. The 4-pack with a charging thing is going to cost you $500. $500 for 4 lights and a charging case. Now, is it worth it? Yeah, I don't think that it wouldn't be. But at $12, you can get 4 lights that'll give you the same amount of light, and you haven't even spent $50. It's a huge difference. Now, like I said, they changed the price, so I digress. It would be like $60 or $80 right now. But still, you're talking about a significant difference when you're saving over $400. That is 80%. Yeah, so. Says, I still have a good price. I have 4 Digi Power. Oh, this is John saying, it's still a good price. I have 4 DigiPower 12-watt lights that have the same features but cost $120 each at Best Buy. You see, and that's what I'm saying. Like, the fact that had like the flickering fireplace thing, I was like, this thing is killer for the price. Like, I have no complaints, and it all has to do with the budget. Speaking clearly and frank, has to do with the budget. It's for $12 or even $20. Awesome. Nano, how you doing, sir? Welcome and congratulations on your win, sir. Nano just won himself a Sony ZV-1 camera, I believe. Yeah, just yesterday, Friday. So congratulations once again on your win, and thanks for stopping by as always. Dr. Elo saying hi to Nano, like he's returning. It says, Duds, I want to get my hands and test it. If also would be easy to reassemble. Done. The other thing is, you know what, like right now, if you buy anything from Amazon, right, I believe on a lot of these items, they're trying to make sure that you feel rest assured. And I was just checking, they gave me 90 days on a return for this light. 90 days. So I don't know if that's a new policy with Amazon itself, or they're just doing that for the holidays. But basically, I think I have until January 22nd, 2022 to actually return that light in case I have any problems with it. And like I said, it's like $12. So like that's like, rest your mind at ease. I got a friend who fixes phones. Maybe you can take a look at your BTS phone. Absolutely, man. That's a good one, Nilo. iPhone XR is still going strong, 33 months. I asked my carrier because I was curious to know the other day. No, the phone itself are fine. It's just this one in particular is like Toyota Corollas are a great car, but if you get one that's been rear-ended, it's not gonna be working as good as the others. So this was a repair phone that I was able to like kind of bring back to life. But now it looks like I just need to replace the battery because it seems like the battery is acting up. Nano says that he loves Yulonzi products. So far, so good for me. He's got a question. Anything special planned for week 52? I do, right? But it's kind of tough because we're talking about, post Thanksgiving. So what I have planned, not really so much planned, is I'm going to be reaching out to some people to see if they can come onto the live stream just to hang out, kind of like, shoot the breeze, so to speak, and have some of my favorite creators and people who were inspirational to me to see if they have availability. So the thing is that next week is week 52, but when I was looking at the calendar when I started this run was December 5th, and December 4th falls the week after that. But there's also some other things that I'm aware of, especially a particular person. He might know who he is that I was gonna ask to come on this stream, but his birthday falls on the 4th, so that's also a little tough because I wouldn't want to ask him to do something like that on his birthday. But it's still something that I have in mind. I'm just trying to work out these things, whether it's for next week or the week after, but it's still a celebration. I think I might mix it up for both, because it's still the same like accomplishment, being the fact that it's 52 weeks, man. Like I would have never thought of that when I started this last year around this same time. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go live. I really like this aspect of it, and to know that it's such a big part of my week, of my life. That like my Saturday weekly live streams are as important, like are so important to me as any other creator on the platform were to do their thing. Like I've mentioned before, Nick Nimmin is a constant, live stream that I partake in every week, every Saturday morning. And when Nick is not able to do it, it's like it throws a monkey wrench in the system. It's like I don't even know it's Saturday, and it's almost like what day is today? Because it's such a vital part of how I start like my weekend, especially Saturday morning. So the fact that this live stream is even more to me, and hopefully to you guys as well, that it just carries that same type of value, that's what gives me the drive. And I could tell you that I'd rather be no other place than right here, right now, and every Saturday. So definitely for week 52 and week 53 and 54, it's just like we'll see where this train ends, if ever. So once again, thank every single one of you for hanging out with me, because it really does mean the world to me. He's saying thanks. You're very welcome. Okay, so it looks like I got to the bottom of the chat for right now. So now we're gonna get back to some gear, right? Continue on of things that I got. Something that I put in there in my photography gear, which is I've had this for a month. Okay, I got this in New York, and this was the one item that I was able to come away with from my visit to B&H Photo. And this is the Peak Design, let's see, cuff. Now this, let me just open it up here and go, oh wow, it's absolutely empty because I've been using it for a month. Let's focus. And this is the Peak Design cuff. I absolutely love this. It is a wrist strap with a magnet, and it's as simple as that. Absolutely been hooked on this thing. It's a daily driver. It is something that I just have on my person at all times, and it's basically replacing the system that I had before. So just to show you, if we can get a better view on it here, cover my face, come on, so we can focus. There we go. So this is the patented quick release system that you find for peak design. And you guys might be familiar with these little tabs, these little red tabs. Come on, focus. There we go. There's little red tabs there. And the way that it works is that you just slide this here. It locks into place like so. And now this, being on your wrist, has you protected on your camera. Very well done. So when you want to release, you just disconnect. And now this, being on your wrist, folds over, and within, like, let's see if we can show it here. Come on, focus. There's a little gap there. You see, like, there's a little bump because inside of the strap itself is a magnet, and it is designed to magnetize the bottom part of this cuff so that it doesn't swing around and you could actually carry it with you. The design is ingenious. The magnet itself actually is movable so that it fits or caters to whoever is wearing it. So depending on the size of your wrist, you can open it up full, get it to your size, and once so, you flip it around, and now you have your camera strap with you at all times. $30, and wow, has this also changed everything. I made a video, which I believe was like one of my first videos on the channel, which was basically like how I kind of bypassed or circumvented having to go into the Peak design system for quick release clips. How I did it was using a more traditional type of clip. These old school, let's see, clips here. Using a set of these on like my camera strap and having these at the end of the camera was kind of like my bypass. What I had done previous to this, because I wasn't using so much my full-on camera like strap, is exactly what you see here. This is a bracelet that I created, right? Basically, so that it fits around my wrist, and all it does is clip on. This working like such, the way that I was using it was with these small lanyards. So these small lanyards, even though they're on my camera, were not the lanyards that I was actually using. I was using in combination with this bracelet. So what I was doing previous to getting this Peak design was I would actually put this within, here, and then I would reattach this as a bracelet. So hopefully that explains it. As you can see, the lanyards there giving me the protection, and that's what I was using prior to getting these clips and this cuff. So like I said, as like a souvenir, I grabbed this at B&H and started using it, and wow, like absolutely love it. I'm ordering more of these little red clips here so that I can put them on all of my cameras, because I'm switching over to those clips. They're absolutely awesome. So that's another convenient thing that I've gotten recently. Highly recommend the cuff. I've been using this for a month already. You know, the worst thing about it, and you know, is that every once in a while it'll do this on you. But I've even gotten to the point where it does it, I just like whip my hand and it whips right back to the magnet and it just clips on. I just keep on with my day. So it's already become part of my like daily routine. So I really like the cuff. And it's one of these like convenient things that no matter when I'm like, I want to take, you know, some photography, anything like that, I have the equipment that I would use mostly on me at all times. As you can see, that's why I had this on my wrist as like a wristband prior to that anyway, because it's just kind of like the way I roll. So now, I had mentioned before about my Camlink 4K and my Stream Deck, which are absolutely like essential. My Camlink 4K is what gives the best high quality 4K connection to the camera to the computer, from the camera to the computer, correction. And the Stream Deck is what just allows me to do everything, you know, including like just the overlays, another one, right? The whole thing. So the Stream Deck, absolutely love. It just allows me to turn on and turn off like all of the settings, everything like that. I can just go to a playing mode, all with a simple touch of a button. Absolutely love the Stream Deck and the functionality that it gives me with the live stream. Love it. But the thing that really changed my production the most, because those of you who have been following me also know that I've been video editing. So consolidation of data and hard drives has been essential, especially for doing all of the work and all of the, excuse me. It's been essential for doing all of these projects, Final Cut Pro, all of these Final Cut Pro files, and they can get pretty fat, you know, chunky little files. So what I had been doing before, what I had was this guy right here. Okay, and this is a USB-C to USB connection, because the I/O on the Mac Mini changed from the 2012 that I had previous to the new M1. So now we have two USB-A type ports and two USB-C type ports. So the first thing that I got was to try to see how I was going to utilize this on my computer was this, let me see if I have it here. I don't remember where I put it. Is this I forgot the brand. QG, something like that. It's basically a dongle. I think it was more designed for like the laptops, but still I was able to put it on top of my M1 connected to the USB-C, the first one, and it gives me two USB USB-A 2.0s. It gives me one USB 3.0 type A. It has a SD and a TF card reader. It also has a an HDMI connection. So with that, I'm able to shoot out the video to my second monitor. So now I have the dual monitors on it, and I'm able to connect my Stream Deck via the USB. I also have my iPad connected via the USB, and I have an additional port with an extension, and it's literally sitting right here in front of me so that I can plug in a USB dongle of my choosing, and it's already connected basically to the I/O in the back, all set up right on top. The other USB-C is where I had this dongle connected, and the only thing that I had connected prior to it was just one hard drive, which was basically USB to SATA, and it's a SSD hard drive that I have, basically a 2.5 inch standard laptop SSD. That's what I'm using as my secondary drive on the machine. So I was constantly swapping out that hard drive depending on the on the project that I was doing at the moment. So if I was doing, like, let's say I was editing off a file for Doc Rock, I would have to put like Doc Rock's hard drive in there that I have designated for his files. For, you know, for each client, I just was connecting one hard drive at a time. You okay, buddy? You're having a blast. Okay, so having one hard drive connected was really, like, you know, it was helping my production, but it was also slowing it down, seeming that I only had one hard drive connected. So did a little bit of research, started looking at some other things, and what really prompted this was my goal of getting on Amazon, which is a whole nother story, guys. Amazon has been a little difficult for me, but I've actually jumped a lot of hurdles in this week because I started really understanding what was the situation with my account and Amazon, and it was my own fault. It was 100% my own fault, even though it was not done, you know, like on purpose, obviously. It was just the way that things were. I'll get into that in a little bit. So What I needed to do to actually get my account like up and running with Amazon was actually buy something. And that's what I was going to touch into, because we've been using, like my family, a Amazon account as the family. So, even before my mother passed and everything like that, my mom's Amazon account was kind of like the family household account. And we all had links into this Amazon Prime. So whenever we were interested, or just saying like, hey, I want this, or, just communication even through Amazon, what was purchased, what wasn't. And it was just helping a lot of things that, even though I had my Amazon account, whenever I would actually go to buy something, I would use the family account, just because it was just easier. It was more convenient. I'll be like, okay, all my information's there, go get it. That was the problem. I created a secondary account, right? My own account for Amazon, but I never purchased anything off of it, because whenever I would go to pull the trigger on an actual purchase, I would do it through the family Amazon, like Prime account. And that was the situation, that I pretty much had everything set up except Amazon, because I hadn't purchased anything, really hadn't confirmed my address and a lot of things that they normally, I guess, confirm of the individual, and they were kind of seeing me like a bot. That's why I didn't have the ability to like upload videos or anything to the platform, because I hadn't purchased anything. So seeming that I had to buy something through my account, I started doing a little shopping, and that's where like prompted all these like little nuances and gadgets that I got. But the one that really changed everything is the Hagibis dock with hard drive enclosure. So let me get the box for it. So I have the 2020 Mac M1 Mini, and what I got was this, the Hagibis USB-C hub with hard drive enclosure. It's the same exact size as my Mini, so it's sitting right underneath it. It's being connected via USB-C to the back, and the I/O that I get in front is amazing. What I was able to do was take the enclosure that it has on the inside, to see if this gives you a little bit better of an illustration. See if we can show that, a little contrast. As you can see, it has a little spot there for a 2.5 inch hard drive. So I threw in my 2 terabyte SSD, and now that's like connected directly to the Mac M1. Now that I have that connected, meaning I have the space, I actually have 3 more USB connections. So my mouse, my which is the MX Master 2S here, I have that connected via dongle, and now the dongle is not like towards the back of my computer, it is right in the front, so the closest proximity to the mouse itself. Awesome. I have an empty one. I have 2 hard drive connections on USB-A, and now I have the other 2 hard drives that I was working with. Okay. The other 2 hard drives connected into the same slot. So now the one USB-C slot is now actively controlling 3 SSD hard drives. So I got the Mac M1 Mini base model, so it's 256 gigs of internal SSD with 8 gigs RAM. On my desktop, I have my Mac M1 Mini hard drive, which is just what I've named it, and that has an extra 250 gigs of space SSD. Then I have another hard drive, because it's 3 in total. That's a terabyte, and then the one that's built in, which is 2 terabytes. So I added an extra 3.25 terabytes onto my system, and they're all actively connected at the same exact time through this one USB-C port. So for my money, this was like $70. Yo, game changer. Yo, for me, game changer. It cleared up so much stuff on my desk, and now I have 3 SSDs connected on top of the one that I have here. It's That's definitely increased my um, organization of files by far, because now I'm able to see if I actually have doubles of any files, and if I do, I can quickly remove them. I literally had 4 hard drives here connected, because that's the other thing. I also have like consolidation of my space and my files that I have my big like 4 terabyte, Western Digital old school spinning disk backup, but I'm starting to utilize it for the files that I'm no longer editing, just to have them as like a redundant backup. So I was able to use the standard IO, which the 2 standard USB-A ports that come onto the Mac Mini is where I have these 2 cameras connected. So I have 2 cameras connected. I have 6 more USB-A ports, 2 more SD card slot readers. I have 2 TF card readers, and I did something, I did something stupid.
Uh-oh. I did something stupid.
I wanted to test this out. So I connected as much stuff. I pulled out my bag of dongles. I plugged in SD cards galore. And I can't tell you, man, I was just in shock that everything popped up on my desktop. Everything. I had like 4 hard drives, 3 USB dongles, and 4 SD cards, and they're all popping up like this, pop, 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 and I'm just like seeing data galore, and I'm like, for $70, the experience that this thing is giving me, hands down, I will highly recommend this. I know Doc Rock is always talking about like these USB hubs that are powered and stuff like that, which is great, especially if you're using a M1 MacBook Pro. That it could save you the fact of having to utilize another power source, because it can take power, give you the redundancy of the ports that you want, and power up your computer through that brick. So that is a completely different use case scenario. But how sleek and minimal this system is, because this thing is just about like an inch thick, and it is the same exact size. So now it's just kind of like a little platform for my Mac Mini. Hands down, I will highly recommend this, especially if you're like within that same scenario. If you're connecting an external hard drive like that, something that is just literally like flopping around like such. Show you, a standard 2.5 millimeter hard drive like this, like these Crucials. That's exactly how I had my workflow prior to getting on the M1s, and once again, this guy right here, that was such a pleasant surprise. I think that's it for this week as far as the things that I got, but I gotta tell you, the fact that I was able to just plug in 4 SD cards, 4 hard drives, and I think 3 more USB dongles, and have my mouse connected, everything working flawlessly, I was just like a kid at a candy store. I was like, I stay amazed at how technology has moved, because to think that this system, right, like these M1 machines, I can tell you right here, right next to me, I'm sitting a really high-end Windows PC. And to have that type of I/O on this machine is impressive, and to have it on this little thing and the way that this Mac M1 Mini moves, jaw dropped, mic dropped, everything. This has just been awesome. I can't wait to see the newer versions of this. Really excited, especially if you guys follow anything when it comes to like the technology and how they're scaling up this technology. They're talking about the new M1 quads, which is going to be something of like 100 128 gigs of RAM, of unified RAM. Ridiculous stuff. It's basically like the M1 Max, not the 64 gig, but the 32 gig, 4 times over. So it's 32 being like 128 gigs of unified memory with all those cores. And this is the whole thing. This is really exciting for us, the content creators, because these machines are really being specified for video editing, for editing in that aspect. Like, it's almost like gaming is taking a back seat right now because of the way that like the world is changing and that the economies are changing when it comes to the creator economy and the attention economy, you know, like paying for people's attention, which is the highest commodity. So let's get back to this. Let's see where we left this. Oh, it looks like I missed some messages. Yes, about Thursday evening, I start craving the Saturday evening MCJ stream. Thank you, John. That really does mean a lot to me, man. Like, you know, much appreciated, guys. I can't tell you, I'm so grateful for this because, like I said, it makes my Saturdays. This is something that I love to do. It says Producer TV says, good evening, my brother. This is one that I think I missed, so sorry that I did, but I'm getting to it right now. Do you ever have any connection issues where your mouse skips around, pauses or lags with the dongle setup, or does the dock help eliminate that? I could honestly tell you, I was having more trouble with my MX Master 2 when I was running it off of Bluetooth. When I was running it off Bluetooth, it was just like giving me some skips and, you know, like that frustration that makes you just like kind of want to like slam your mouse, like, why aren't you working? You know, that old school rollerball mouse mentality. I don't know if you remember that. You know, like, I'm not trying to like date anybody, but if you ever used a mouse that had a ball, right, that ball would get dirty, and a lot of times when it would stop scrolling, you kind of had to just like slam it to kind of like release the dust, and then you would get it to work again. And I know that these are laser pointer, but like when it was on Bluetooth, it gave me that urge to kind of just like want to, you know, slam it down rollerball style. So that was a little funny. But once I put the dongle on, I'm gonna tell you, I think it might have done that a little bit, right? A little bit of skipping when the dongle was on the back. But ever since I put the dongle on the first adapter, right, this GQG one, right, that it's been away from the back and closer to the front, I haven't had an issue. This week, since I've got the Hagibis, that it's literally like just not even a foot away from the receiver, I've had no problems all over my desk. And I'm notorious for having problems because I also decided to make a metal desk, right? All these magnets stick to the metal, but metal also creates a Faraday cage, which makes it really, really hard for receiving and sending signals. So if this was wood, I can make a keyboard stand that goes underneath here, right? And have it connect to my computer without an issue. If I were to put this mouse underneath this desk, because it's solid metal, I'm losing all connection. Like just putting it here, the signal's not even going to go through the metal desk. So it's not the best, but I work with it because I love my desk. I've had it for years. Nano says, I've been thinking of getting the Mac M1 Mini M1 whenever it's out. That model, they have enough money. Let me read that correctly, because hydrate and make sure that I'm seeing this correct. I've been thinking of getting the Mac Mini M1. Whatever is out of the model when I have enough money for it. Mind you, is going to be my first time using Mac OS. Well, there is a learning curve, but I'm also gonna give you my experience. I didn't buy the Mac M1 brand new. I went to the Apple refurbished. So I think there's 700, and because it was a refurbished unit, I think I got it for 600. So I think I paid 589, and with taxes with like $640. $640, man, and the editing job that I was able to do because of this computer, the edits that I'm able to do right now because of this computer. And that's also putting into context that it's a new platform. So a lot of the plugins, a lot of the things are still not up to date for the M1, but this time next year, bro, pretty much everyone's going to be caught up on the M1 system, and they're going to be releasing new ones so that it's really going to utilize the entirety of it. Like these new M1 Pro and the M1 Max, right? The newest versions of the MacBook Pro laptops. They have 64 gigs, 32 gigs, and the programs themselves are not even written in the form to utilize all that power. So it's almost like having a Ferrari, but you're stuck in a school zone right now. This time next year, the computers that are being released right now could be re-benchmarked on the updates of these programs that they're using, and you're going to see substantially higher scores because the programs themselves are going to understand how to utilize all 32 gigs, all 64 gigs of this unified memory, which they still don't know how to utilize right now. It's just the way it's written. I have 64 gigs of memory on a 2017 iMac and the 2018 Mac Mini. It makes all the difference in performance in running applications. Yeah. It goes, as long as you don't blow into the mouse like we used to with the Nintendo games. Yo, listen, I'll tell you the truth. Like, that was me. Like, I was the guy who would take the rollerball mouse and disconnect the little thing and take it out and then wipe down the little rollerball with alcohol to make sure it was clean, wipe down the connections on the inside, put it all back in, and have a functioning, like, nice, smooth functioning mouse. And I used to do that stuff all the time. That's funny, but at least you feel me. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That. And then you would put in the cartridge and the Nintendo and make sure that it would like skim the plastic, because if you pushed it all the way in, it wasn't gonna start. You know, if you push it all the way in, no, you gotta just like touch it and then just try to close it. You understand? And as soon as you hear that scrape, you know you had that Nintendo game and you were playing Mario. You know it was on. Producer TV says, yeah, I've been using my mouse with a powered USB hub and sitting to the left of my Mini, and I got those issues. I appreciate the response. This is your boy Timmy Rooks. Okay, that's the yeah. I remember you, Tim, man. Especially from Facebook, but I did not remember that this is who you were. That's who I was talking to. But okay, that's cool. Well, yeah, I'm glad that helps. But you know what? I would tell you, if you really want to see if that's the issue, I would tell you to just get like a simple USB extension, just so that wherever it is that you're extending it from, you can bring it closer. For example, Camlink 4K actually comes in the box with a little like 6-inch or 8-inch USB extension. So that little extension cable is what I have here that I mentioned before, where I have it connected to a USB 3.0, and because it's an extension, instead of me having to like fit my hand in the back and be like, okay, I think I got it. No, I just put the extension to the front here so that whenever I need, like I'm saying, like, oh, I got a dongle, I can plug it right in there. That's something that I had before I got my hands on this Hagibis. The Hagibis has 3 USBs in the front right now, so it kind of does exactly that same thing. Actually, it has 4. I say 3 because one of them is being used by the mouse. So I have 3 available, but even that. I could even take that mouse dongle, put it up there, so that then I actually have, you know, 4 USBs available in the front. But the fact that, you know, like the biggest complaint, which was like, oh, you don't have an SD card reader and things like that, I'm really happy with this Hackabis. That's all I gotta say. Really, really happy. It's cleaned up. I have 3 hard drives connected here. I have plenty of data, so the one thing that wouldn't be necessarily great about the base model M1 Mac Mini being that you don't have like that extra hard drive space to make it terabytes upon terabytes. I have three and a half, right? No, yeah, including the 256 that it came with. I have 3.5 terabytes on my M1 Mac Mini. I'm doing okay. Plus, you know, external backups, and I'm working with Doc Rock as well. He just got this new Synology like RAID system that's like 24 terabytes, and that's where I'm gonna be connecting with him to like drop the files off and everything like that. So that's also gonna help me a lot, seeing that I'm not going to have to keep the files, you know, on my system while I edit them. I'm gonna have like a hyperlink to that Synology drive, so that I can just drop or take anything that I need, as almost as if like I was connected to that network locally. So he's really putting in the, you know, like his efforts and setting up that system for 2022, and that's where I say I'm really excited about that, because 2022 is going to be a killer year. 2021, I have no complaints. I am only extremely grateful and ecstatic about all the things that happened this year, you know, and just, I know it's a little preemptive because we haven't even hit, you know, Thanksgiving or anything, but there was so many things that I was able to accomplish this year that I would have never thought. Like, I spoke at an international like conference of people of video, you know, and I'm a moderator, and you know, in kind of like the behind the scenes with Ecamm, which, if you don't know by now, it's the program of choice for me that I use to do my entire live stream. So this entire production, everything like that, and not only my entire production for my live streams, but my entire production right now is basically coming out of Ecamm, because instead of me messing around with memory cards and things like that, one of the things that I really think Ecamm really is above and beyond other like web-based platforms. Miss D, Diana Gladney, mentioned this all the time. If you're using StreamYard, if you're using StreamYard, there's quite a few, you know, like Restream, so on and so forth, and these are your productions. If for whatever reason, like, you lose internet, there's outage in your area, and you don't have the ability to connect to that said platform, to the Restream, to the StreamYard, to whatever it is that you're using, you're SOL. There's nothing that you can do. But Ecamm is a standalone program that sits on my computer. So whether I am using it to stream to to a variety of different platforms, I also have the ability to record locally to my computer. So everything that you see here, all the bells and whistles, all the like scrolling text, everything that you can see, I can produce that, and instead of broadcasting it as a live stream, I can record it locally and then throw that file directly into Final Cut Pro, and I bypass completely having to mess with memory cards and things like that. Another added feature is that there's like no color grading that I have to do, because I've literally set up all the color grading in Ecamm. You know, like, it gives you all of the features to adjust the colors on multiple cameras, so that you can match the colors. And once you have it dialed in, like I do, you know, and I have it, hey, these are the colors that I like, the saturation, the contrast, the whole thing. Once I have it set, I hit record, I'm recording with all of those things baked right into my footage, so it's less stress on my editing program, because it's not like I have to add another adjustment layer on top of it and then start throwing like color grading or color correction onto that file, adding more bulk to the editing file itself, giving it more to render. So there's so many conveniences about that, and the fact that you can do all of that without having to be connected online, that's all done right within your computer, is where I say, hands down, Ecamm is my favorite, because it gives me that ability. And because of it, I constantly record my videos directly onto my computer, basically giving me like an Atomos Ninja type, where I can connect and record directly to said hard drives that I'm talking about here. And then once it's there, I'm editing right off of that hard drive, and nothing leaves, and everything's right where it's supposed to be, and then upload it to YouTube. That's one of the big things that's been helping me with my production and workflow. And right now I'm really trying to hunker down, because one thing that I was able to do was get a week ahead on my videos. So like my videos are already set to come out. So next week's video, or this week's video, however you want to see it, the next video that's coming out is based around Ecamm and how to do overlays, which is what you're seeing here. All this stuff, how to do it easily through Ecamm, because this new latest version has really made it super easy. And the funny thing is that that's the video that I was already working on, and I think last week somebody asked me to show them what I was doing, and I was able to make an overlay session right on the fly because of how easy it is. And I'm already telling you that just last year, or no, this year, I'm saying it last year because it just seems that way, but this year when I started using Ecamm, that just came about in the latest update, because prior to that I was still going to canva.com to make overlays and to make cutouts, and then having to take that file with a blue screen into Final Cut Pro so that I can then use chroma key to remove that green chroma key, and then to leave it as a video only file, because if it record audio it won't have the transparency, so you needed to like record it in a 444 format and make just me talking about it, I probably lost half of you right now who are here on this stream, because of the simple fact that it's already getting a lot more complicated when the new version of Ecamm is like, pick a file that you want to be your background, right? Throw it in there. Okay, now the video's playing. Add a camera, adjust the camera, and you're done. It's so easy, and the thing is that, just to show you, like right here, like right around the edge of this file, there's like a transparency, so it's like this opaqueness of purple, right, that's like going around the border of the camera, except when you see the light being emanated from the video from behind, as you can see, is semi-transparent. All that's done through Ecamm. That's something that's like, to me, looks so nice, but it was like almost impossible to do through Canva. I could have spent some more time and gotten into Photoshop to get that tuned in just right, but it was just so much more work that it was like, why even go through it? And I left my borders that I had worked on before in static colors just so that they can show a difference. But this, to me, this looks so much better. But that's just my opinion, One thing, shout out to Scully, House of Thrillers. He gave me one of the nicest compliments this past week, which was like, he literally said that I had the nicest looking live stream of the year, which is like high praise coming from a dude that watches a lot of live streams. This dude has seen a lot, and we're talking about from the Nick Nimmons to the Professor Nez's to the like EPOS box, and you're talking about I watch the WAN show from Linus Tech Tips. yesterday he had, listen to what I'm about to tell you guys. If you guys don't know who Linus is, I don't know, especially on this platform, I think he's very well known. Linus right now on his main channel has like 15 million subscribers. What really impressed me was his WAN show had, I think, was like maxing out at 12,000 live viewers. That is nuts. That is nuts. Because I'm over here and I'm like, I see 20 people in the camera junkie live stream, and I'm like, wow, 20 people are spending their time here with me. That's like adulation galore, right? Like, that's super cool. That is so amazing to me. I'm humbled and super grateful every week to see something like that, right? And this dude has 12K on a live. That is amazing. But it really shows me the potential of this platform. We could only hope one day that the Camera Junkie crew gets to be that large. I keep that like those hopes up, because I really love the live streaming platform, the live streaming aspect of it. Recorded content is great. I take nothing away from it. I love making it just the same, but it's nothing like a live stream. It just isn't. That's why I absolutely am addicted to it, and I'm always grateful for all of you hanging out here with me on a weekly. So let me just check in with you guys again. Okay, so it was Timmy Rooks is here. Says, yeah, I never thought about extending the USB hub closer to the mouse. I think I'll try the dock though. I need the SD card reader too. Hey, if you need it, definitely, I would highly recommend. And that's one of those things that everyone always says, like, oh, like, why did they take it away? Hey, it's the IO. But I'll tell you the truth, I'm getting so much more IO out of this Mac Mini than I ever was out of that other one. That's what I'm saying, because even just the new technology of the USB-C. Ooh, excuse me. Okay. The USB-C Thunderbolt 4 gives you so much bandwidth that it allows you to do this. This was not something that was even available with USB 3.0. And my previous Mac Mini had USB 2.0, 4 of them. So going from 4 USB 2.0s to now converting that IO to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 USB 2.0s, 1, 2, 3 USB 3.0s, 2 SD card readers, 2 TF card readers, and a USB-C to power like cell phones or anything else like that. That's still, like, that is amazing. Like, basically, in hindsight, like, you gave up 2 USB-A ports to get all that extra IO, including the secondary display off through the HDMI. I'm just super satisfied. Super satisfied. Okay, so Art says, oh, Lewis, look at that EVGA XR1 Lite. It's a capture card. I'd say better than the Camlink 4K, but goes for like $60 new. It's a great option for high quality budget capture card. I will definitely look into that, because my secondary card is still that USB Amazon one. Now, the one thing is that I would like to get them, both to 4K, because this is like 4K and 1080. But that could be a really good option. I think. Whoa, you okay? That was loud. That was loud, buddy. I'm glad you're okay. But that's really cool because we need some more options, especially for the 4K. Because that's just the one thing, like, just the fact that it's not there as an option just to be an output. I really think that that's the next step, especially that we are all jumping onto like 4K streams and things like that. I'll definitely check that one out. It says Ecamm Gang, I'm in the Facebook group and constantly trying to help people with their questions. Is a great community. Absolutely. I always say that as well. Like, people say, like, what's your favorite aspect of Ecamm? And I really think that the community is the best part of Ecamm. I'm stuck in my Canva ways after looking to making them just in Ecamm. Well, just also you could take a look at my video that it's coming out either, I'd say Wednesday. You know, like, I'm thinking Wednesday is gonna be like my release day, if not Thursday, just depending on what the YouTube says is probably the best. But I've been keeping it consistently on Wednesdays, so if just like Saturday live streams, I think it's a good middle point, you know, to give both videos like ample time to breathe. So Saturday live streams, and I'm gonna be like my Wednesday release. This Wednesday, it's all about Ecamm and overlays and how to make them easily. So if you have any questions about it after watching the video or anything like that, also just reach out to me, because I think I pretty much explained it pretty well in the video. It's super easy. Like, it's a 3-minute video. It's a 3-minute video, and not only do I show you how to make overlays, but I show you how to make overlays for like interview mode as well, for like if you want to invite a guest, and how to bring them on, and how to just make it easy so that Ecamm, because it is that easy. You know, like, let's you know what, let's get to this. I'm gonna do it live again. Should I? Yeah, let's do it. Look, I'm going to go into live demo mode. Let's do this. Alright, so this is what I see on live demo mode, right? This is my my setup. A6100 16mm, that's my front facing camera, right? Let me turn off the buy me a coffee stuff so that you can see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you here, right, on the camera. Let me unlock it, right, so that I can mess with it right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn off my... Can't hear me. Okay, hold on. You couldn't hear. Okay, you can hear me now. Perfect. All right. So I'm gone because all I did was turn off my camera. So basically, this scene is that simple. I start my scene and I select this video file and I have it running on a loop in my background. Then I would hit this little button here and add a camera, which will add a camera, and then boom, I'm on there. I go to the window here and I click and I adjust all the settings on like what I want to make round, corner wise, so on and so forth, right? And all the adjustments of my corner radius, if I want them round or, you know, like square, everything is set here. If I wanted to do an interview mode, right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the same exact scene here and I'm gonna hit this duplicate, and now I just made a copy of it, right? So now I'm no longer dealing with the original, but I'm dealing with a copy of said scene. So I'm gonna lock the original so I don't mess that one up. And now here we're gonna play with this one. First I'm gonna do, then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna change it from wide and I'm gonna change it to square, right? Now that it's a square, as you can see, it's taking up like half the screen, a lot less real estate, but it's still a little bit more past the halfway point. So I'm going to squeeze it down a little bit less, and now I'm going to set it up here, and boom, now I have my first window, right? So now I want to add a guest into this area here. I could go down here and add another camera and readjust, but I'm trying to make this easy. So with Apple or Mac computers, anything that you can click and drag, you can copy and make a duplicate by just hitting the Option key or the Alt. So you would press down on the Alt, you would then click the same exact window that you're on, and you're just going to duplicate it, okay? And now that you duplicate it, you have 2 windows there, and you drop. You're good to go, right? So now you're going to go back to the same little pencil, and you're going to change it from the cam link. And as you can see, I'm going to change it to my USB video, which is my secondary shot. If I had the interview mode on, one of the options that I have here for the camera will actually be your guests. So it'll be guest 1, guest 2, guest 3, guest 4, and you would designate this window to the guest that you're inviting on, so that you would actually be able to just bring them on here. And that's it. Once you have them set, you will see a silhouette of the first person that would be on the interview. You can keep that as a scene and then move backwards so that you're here. And as soon as the guest shows up, they will automatically be inserted once you select them. You're saying this is guest 1. Anywhere that you have preset the guest 1 camera, that's where they will show up. So it would give you the ability to speak to the audience like I'm doing right now. And then even though he's in the green room, he's in the second scene, but you can't see him now. As soon as you do click over to that scene, you'll be like, hey, how you doing, sir? Whoever it is that you're speaking to, address them, and they would be in this said box here over to the left. And that's how simple it is. And because it's, you know, Ecamm and with the Stream Deck, I press the one button and I get my entire, like, you know, buy me a coffee setup. The scroll keeps going, and now this is just a scene, as you can see over here to my on my scenes top left, that it is just a scene copy of the A6100, and it's gonna sit in between my 16mm and my 30mm lens. So it is the middle point now. And because I'm really not going to keep that scene, right? One last thing that you can do is you can lock it, because once you lock it, it doesn't allow you to move anything around. As you can see, the entire window moves instead of the overlay. So when you're broadcasting like this will prevent you from actually messing up or moving, you know, said windows when you don't want to. You don't want to like pull the viewers out of the experience. But because I'm not going to keep it, I'm going to highlight it there, and now I'm going to hit this little trash box. We're going to delete it, and now that goes back to the other one. We go back here, or maybe go to my rotation, because these are the cameras that are on a timer, so they automatically rotate. So to give you an example, we're going to move it over here, and this is a 13-second rotation. So it's just going to sit here as I talk for only 13 seconds, and once those 13 seconds are up, it will automatically move to the next scene, which brings me back here. And as you can see, it says 20 seconds, because it's only going to be here for 20 seconds, and then it's going to move again to the secondary shot for another tighter, as the T means tight because it's a little bit zoomed in. And then the 30mm is going to be a little bit tighter as well here. It's going to adjust it. And once this 13-second set is done, it's going to be the last camera on that folder. And what it's going to do is going to start right back to the first one again. And it's going to keep doing that loop until I change it. So that's it. And that's demo mode. So that's how easy it is, Mr. Rooks. So as you can see, this is not hard at all. That's how easy it is, whether you want to make it a video background or a static, like, you know, image. It works just the same way. That's how easy it is. So now we'll just leave that there, and now we're gonna get out of the live demo mode. Boom. And we're back to the scene, and this is what you see. And this is why I tell you, it's so easy to use. It just works. It's why I use iPhone over Android. It just works. I don't have time for why isn't this working right now. No, it just works. Randall says, when adding more overlays cause any problems with the cameras and using more resources and bring any hate issues? No, not at all. I'll tell you the truth, not at all. This thing It doesn't even break a sweat. Let me see what can I do here. Let me see. I'm bringing up my resource manager. Right now, out of the 8 gigabytes, I'm using 6.5. And for those of you who understand, there is nothing on the swap memory, so there's none of the SSD that's being used as memory. And right now I have YouTube, Ecamm. YouTube, I'm running it through Chrome, so I'm not running it through Safari, which would make it easier. But then at the same time, I'm also running Audio Hijack, because Audio Hijack is how I'm able to clean up the audio for you guys. Now, let me check the memory. Oh, that was the memory. CPU? Man, CPU right now is pretty much running idle. It says the system... Oh, no. CPU load is about 30%. It says that it's basically like 17 and 13. 17% is the system and 13% is what I'm doing. So I'm putting like a 13% load with everything that I'm doing on the system right now. It says, don't forget Linus is hiring. Yeah, but in Canada. I think he was very clear about that. He was like, yeah, we're hiring, but you need to be here. There's another channel that I've recently started following. Give me a second. Okay. So, being a camera junkie, visual arts, special effects, photography, filmmaking, so on and so forth, I came across this channel. I mentioned it to Tom Buck to see if he had heard of them before. It's called Corridor Digital. They're special effects producers, like After Effects. Everything is about, computer graphics, CG, so on and so forth. They have a secondary channel called Corridor Crew, which I think is why they were presented to me, being that I'm always talking about Camera Junkie Crew. So the names similarities just like grabbed my attention, so I started watching a couple of videos, and these guys are really amazing. They're also hiring now for a lot of positions, and they're really expanding as well. Their main channel is at like 5 million plus subscribers, and they have a variety of different the interesting thing about them, the Corridor Crew, was that they're a production house, so to speak, like a special effects house where they're trying to make cinema. They're trying to make movies. So they're trying to break into the Hollywood scene, and their most recent experience with attempting to do that really left a sour taste in their mouth, where it was just, for them to produce a movie, it wasn't in their taste. They didn't get to say what the movie was about. They, like, all the creative aspects of being a creator was removed, and then the budget that they were supposed to get for it was also slashed in half, where they wouldn't have made any money off of this movie and basically had to work for someone else, not have to keep the rights to said production, and basically like utilize a year to 2 years of their lives, and just be like missing, not being able to produce for their YouTube channel because they're completely devoted to that, yet it wasn't going to benefit them at all. So what they ended up doing was creating their own website, and their YouTube subscribers now have a subscription model, which is where I find it to be really interesting. It's super cool. What you get with your subscription to the channel is you get to vote. So they came out with this system where they have a variety of different projects available for you to vote on. So whenever somebody subscribes to their Corridor Crew website, they're getting exclusive videos that are not found on YouTube that are green lighted by the community themselves. So it's almost like your subscription gives you a vote, and you get to apply your vote to green light the programs that you want to watch. So not only are they getting an active community, but the community is actually getting to tell them which projects they want them to work on, which gets them like all excited for it, because they already know that this is what the people want. So then they just decide to put all their creativity to what the audience has selected already, and it's just an awesome system, because you're getting like 100% satisfaction of the viewer, because they're telling you ahead of time with their votes on what they want to see, which is an amazing concept. And because of it, they're able to produce series of shows that they would never have the ability to do it going through the traditional mainstream way of producing movies, video shows, so on and so forth. And they're completely doing it in-house, and they're starting to get like serious recognition from, you know, like the big production companies, the ones that are dealing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so on and so forth. So it's really interesting. It's a new channel that I found, and I've just been like kind of hooked on their content. The series that I'm really watching more than anything is called VFX Artists React, which is basically 3 of their, you know, members of this Corridor Crew will sit down on the couch and go through good and bad CG in movies, you know, and really giving you a perspective of what we're able to do today comparative to what was done 20 years ago. So really cool channel. You know, if you're interested, go check them out. They're also hiring as well, which was very interesting, but the same as Linus, you have to go to where they're at. So I'm waiting to see if here with this channel, with the Camera Junkie crew, we will build something of that matter. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, that's what we're building here, and I find inspiration in finding a lot of these channels doing these things that are not the traditional way, and actually not only finding success but thriving in this success. So it's really inspirational, and it just gets me excited about the opportunities and the possibilities of what we're doing here, you know, with this community and with this platform. So excited for this upcoming year. You know, 2022 is going to be awesome. Just double checking on the boy. Says, not at all. I do heavy audio sessions with 40 plus plugins while being live to my audience and streaming with animated overlays, no problems at all. It doesn't get hot or even turn the fan on. Wow, look at that. Yeah, and I caught one of your live streams, bro. Like, they're serious. I think I caught a replay. I don't know. I don't think I've caught you live yet. Says, yeah, but is located in Canada around the Vancouver area, which is underwater and cold. We're all talking about the same thing. How much memory RAM do you have? Lewis has 8 gigabytes of RAM and he's doing great. Yeah, 16 gigs on my M1 Mini. Needed RAM for the audio production. Yeah, when you're stacking 40 plus, yeah. But I could honestly tell you, like, that's the only time, because I haven't really seen it. Like, you know, the beach ball that they're always talking about, the spinning beach ball. I haven't seen that. Like, and the only time that I've seen that has gotten like a little bit like, and it wasn't a beach ball moment, is like when I have 3 or maybe 4 layers of 4K in Final Cut Pro, and that's when it starts pushing, you know, memory to the SSD. That's when it starts pushing to the SSD, but prior to that, no, it's fine. It's held up. Sly is here. Says the stream looks awesome. Do I hear the boss behind you all night? He's been very active today. He's been very active, so yes, we've heard him all night long. Randall saying hi to Sly, saying the same. Finally getting things back to normal, says Randy. Just in time for the Christmas season. Yes, I know, like... let me know what you guys are planning to do for Thanksgiving, because my family itself, I'm probably going to be spending the time with my sister at her house. I think that's where my father and that's where we're going to meet, because it is unfortunate, but that's kind of like what's left of our family. Me, my sister, my father. That's the Vega household right now, which is pretty interesting. That's all that's left. But we're gonna make the most of it. I'm gonna see my nieces, my nephew, things like that. So we're gonna make the most of our holiday. And I don't know, what are you guys are planning on doing? Because I really hope you guys get to spend it with your loved ones and get to make it a big festivity. Holidays is always a big festivity, but it's been tough since Mom passed, because she was a big part of a lot of those things. So, not trying to get things on a somber note, but I guess just as the holidays creep up, it just gets a little bit more real. I'm not gonna apologize for missing my mother, because that's what's happening right now, and that's the good thing and the bad things about memories, because it's good to have them. It's just not. The bad thing is you can't control when you remember them. Miss you, Mom. And guys, like I said, I'm not gonna apologize. It's life. Is just, it goes to show you got to make the most of your everyday. Take advantage, make the most. That's why I tell you guys, I appreciate you guys so much. Can't even put it into words. Just trying to okay, just trying to catch my breath and get things going. So yep, I really do hope and wish the best for all of you guys. I would tell you, make the most of your holidays. Make sure that you eat well and have a lot of fun. Make the most of the time that we have here. It's the only thing that we do have. One second, guys. Even though last year was like the first Thanksgiving without Mom, this one kind of feels like it's the first one. It was just so close last year. It was just in the middle of it. So going back to it, Mom was an amazing cook. She was just amazing. To give you a little story about my mother, New Year's was always a big thing, because when it came to New Year's, my mom had this tradition of making this huge soup, and I've mentioned it before. It's a Puerto Rican tradition. It's called a sopón. Like just a huge rice and plantain soup, chicken, rice, plantains, really hearty, really good. And she would be working on that soup all day. Like New Year's Eve was just like all day, and it would be ready at midnight. And after, like, a lot of family and friends would spend the new year at a party, so on and so forth, it was our house that had the after party. You know, it always had the after party, and I'm telling you, it was a yearly tradition where after like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning was when my house would get packed, when people would be leaving all the other events, and before they get home they would stop over to get their bowl of soup with a piece of bread. And it was just like tradition. No lie, 300 to 350 people would come through the house every year. And this is the second year that we don't have that, and it's tough because there's a lot of people that it was like the tradition to see them at that time at the end of the year, like kind of to start the new year. And a lot of things have changed, but that's when we make new traditions. And we'll see how we started off, because last year, coming Thanksgiving, I was not live streaming. So, no guarantees, but depending on how I feel, there might be a holiday live stream to sneak it in there, just to see how you guys are doing, and hopefully to see if I catch up with some of you guys. If you guys are not too busy, and have some time, you might see a Thanksgiving stream late night. So those of you who are here and catching this message, just know that that's just on the DL, on the download, just between us. All right. So it says, I really appreciate you going through this for me, man. I didn't know you could alt copy the window like that either. Awesome tip, brother. Yeah, that's where those little nuances make it super easy. Says easy, LOL. That was light years ahead of my skill level. Well, Sly, don't worry. Like I said, my video is coming out Wednesday, and I always try to do my best to break it down to be as clear and concise as possible, to give as much information, but it's also going to be recorded, so you'll be able to pause it and go through it step by step, and I know that it'll be easy enough for anybody to replicate. I start by going to Canva, because all you have to do is, like, the hardest part, to tell you the truth, and I mentioned it as well, the hardest part is finding what is called a loopable video, meaning that the video starts and finishes with the same frame, so that when it restarts, you don't notice like a jag. You understand? Like the video stops and then it starts all over again. And you don't notice that change of the file. So once you have that file, the rest is easy. But that's why if you don't want to do a video file, you can do it with a static image. Like just a simple, pretty picture. And that will make it even easier, because you don't even have to loop the file or find anything. You just find the image that you like and then just start throwing your camera overlays on top of it. Easy. It says, great presentation as always, Luis. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I try to do my best. Hey, Mark is in the house. How are you? I saw your Facebook post about your new channel, so I'm definitely gonna have to check it out. Okay, so Lewis, beach ball moment is Windows updating reboot the computer while in a live stream. Yes, absolutely. Randy, man. I think that's what pushed me over to the Windows side, was the same live stream. Just here talking to you guys, having fun, and then a Windows machine decides to just do a reboot and update in the middle of my live stream. I'm still surprised that I got back to so many of them, that somehow I was able to relink to the same thing after it did that whole reboot and update. That's a miracle all on its own by itself. But the couple of times that it didn't, and having to start all over again and stuff like that, is just so like, ugh. And the fact that nothing like that, like nothing even close, has happened since I moved to Mac, even before the M1, using the old Mini, Nothing even comes close. I got the newer arm, Lewis. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, like, it's a great arm. She's sending hearts. Says, going to my brother's place and rest the San Antonio family getting together in one place finally. Cool. Says, sending love. She's at peace. She is. It's just tough. Lost my brother last month. My mother the year before that. My grandmother the year before that. And my sister the year before that. And then the year before that, Aiden was born. So it's just been one hell of a roller coaster of what you call my life in the past five going on 6 years. But if it goes to show you one thing is that I'm resilient, I'm still here. And what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. And I'll tell you the truth, right now I feel hella strong. Because I've been put through the ringer in this short time. So she would be so proud of you and Aiden. Never had the soup, but pasteles, sí. Okay. If you had pasteles, it's a very similar flavor, right, to the soup itself, because you are talking about like plantains, and then with the rice, and it's not like a thin broth because of it and the ingredients. It gets real thick. You understand? So it's like real thick, and then added the rice, and then instead of meatballs, right, they're plantain balls that are just like floating around in there. That gives you like this nice texture, almost like a mofongo. Oh, so good. She says pastel. Don't worry, we read typos here. It says gracias, Latina stream queens. You can be our prince. Oh, Aiden's the prince. That's the prince right there, Prince Aiden. We'll definitely check it out. It says, I have to pause Peter's cooking videos to follow along and still manage to screw it up because I can't cook. My job Thursday will be the head grandkid herder. My favorite job ever. That's gotta be so cool, right? Like, having grandchildren is gotta be the best because you get to give them back, right? You get to wind them all up and then just be like, he's full of sugar. There. Deal with it. Super cool. It says you're a spiritual being experiencing a human experience, not human having a spiritual experience, bro. I know it's hard sometimes, but you're doing amazing. Thank you, sir. I really do appreciate that, man. Like I said, I do my best, and the thing is that I just recognize that because, and I'm gonna leave it with this because it's just like the good note, and to show or to better explain exactly how I feel and how I kind of deal with it, which is my brother was buried next to my sister and next to my mother. Since my sister was buried there, since my mother was buried there, and now my brother, it's like I have not visited that location since any of them have passed, besides having to go there for the next burial. So just like right now, I was able to experience a memory of my mother. And what I did was I gave it the respect that it needed, or that it deserved, better said, I'm able to understand the emotions that I'm going through at that moment and give them their place and the respect for them, because anyone who would say anything otherwise is like that is the memory of my mother, So with that being said, it's like I give reverence to the memory, to the thought, when I have the thought, when I have the memory. And that's why I mentioned that we don't always get to choose when they come around, but giving it is due respect and not telling all of you that I'm sorry for being emotional, or having an experience, because I don't think that, that we were created with tear ducts in our eyes because we weren't supposed to cry, And it's an acquaintance, which I would like to call a friend, Glenn Morshower. I met him through Clubhouse, and he's one who gave me a really good perspective on this, because if somebody were to tell you, and this is gonna sound funny because this is exactly how he said it. So once again, shout out to Glenn. He says, if somebody were to tell you that they have diarrhea, I don't think that you would hand them a cork and tell them, plug it up. You would tell them, hey, you're gonna have to let that shit out. Pardon my French, right? You're gonna have to let it go, right? To feel better. So why is it that when somebody gets emotional and starts getting tears in the eyes, that we hand tissues in their face and tell them, like, yo, plug it up? You understand? Like, let's clean that whole thing up, you know, and not give the emotion the release that's needed at that moment, the respect of the memory, its space and its respect. So with that being said, it gives you a better understanding of what these emotions are, and that we should give them the respect that they deserve when they happen. So that's where I bring it all back to, that the location where my mother is buried is not the location where I go to speak to my mother. I speak to my mother the same way that you saw me do it right here live, giving the respect to her memory when the memory presents itself. When I get that emotional feeling, because it is how I feel, as if she was right next to me at that moment, you know? And for that, that's why I said that I appreciate all of you guys, but I think I know that that's how I deal with the situation, and that, you know, the vessel that my mother's soul was in is at a certain location, but that's not where my mother is right now. So when I communicate to her, I don't communicate to an old vessel. I communicate to the spirit that still resides and that can still communicate. You know, that's just the way I see it. For my sister, for my mother, and also for my brother. That's how it works for me. So hopefully that helps someone out there that maybe needed to hear this just the same, you know? Because whenever I think about her and I want to speak to my mom, I don't have to make an appointment to go visit a location. I just speak to her when I have the need to speak to her, because I'm speaking to her spirit, not to her vessel. So that's the way that I understand it. But I thank all of you guys, because that's what I tell you, like, that's what helps me understand this spiritual journey that we're all going on, and what helps me, you know, get to the next day. So hopefully it helps someone else. That's all I can wish. I hope it helps somebody else. It says, what kind of meat? No, it's not meat. I said it's like a meatball, but it's plantain. So the same plantain that would be used, she would roll them up into like little plantain balls and then throw them in there, and you would find them in the soup as if they were meatballs, but they were still plantain. And I said it still gave like a good texture, like a protein type of texture on it, especially like that. And if you've had mofongo before, which is kind of like mofongo is boiled plantains that are then like mashed and then deep fried, which is just so good. But anyways, it's kind of like that mofongo, like semi-hard, semi-tough texture within the soup in a form of a little ball made from plantain, part of that soup. Super good. Super good. Images by Gretchen, how are you doing? Thank you for actually being able to make it to the live stream. I know it's late because definitely this is closing time. Usually run the live stream for 2 hours. We're past it just a little bit, but thank you for stopping by and being able to make it. I really do appreciate it. Says thank you for sharing that. I lost someone a few years back whose birthday is in a few days. The holidays hasn't been the same for our family. Yeah, those are the things that do suck. When they coincide with a date that always like comes back, and that I'll tell you the truth. It's funny that you mentioned that, Art, because that's where I honestly tell you that I this little guy, Aiden, has helped me out as well, because he doesn't work by a traditional calendar at all. Like, a traditional calendar said you're supposed to be in the womb for 9 to 10 months, 6, and he's like, I'm out of there. Till right now we still have some challenges. He doesn't walk and he doesn't talk, but those are things that are going to come at his time. So his time is only his time and is only dictated by him. So the Gregorian calendar that we're accustomed to does not even affect him at all. So being wrapped up with Aiden has given me the ability to lose track, which could be good or could be bad. But I try to look at everything in the positive. So the fact that I lost track of days and dates and months when he was in the neonatal intensive care unit really showed me that those are arbitrary. Like I remember leaving the hospital and everybody's like, yo, what are you doing today? And I'm like, what's today? They're like, oh, it's such and such holiday. And I'm like, dude, I got a kid in the hospital. Like, I don't care that it's Valentine's Day right now. Like, it's Tuesday. And that's a conversation that Doc Rock had not too long ago. Is when you start to realize that the traditions that you grew up with are not yours at all. When you realize that the traditions that, like, so many people are like, oh, and that's tradition, and that's like how Christmas has been done, and it's like, that's not my tradition. And if I were to say what is my family right now, right? My family is this little guy, my father, my sister, nieces, nephew, and all of you who are here with me. So I'd rather start my own traditions, start new traditions, and start new things to give me new dates and new things to remind me of the positive things of life, comparative to dwelling on old calendars and old dates that are only going to tie me down to sad and unfortunate memories. So I do understand that, but if maybe this conversation also helps to just say, hey, you know what? Try not to base your life on those calendars, on those dates. I know it's tough because we all live in life and we have bills to pay, and those numbers have everything to do with that and keeping, things in track, right? But try not to canonize things that you didn't experience yourself. So I'm into that mindset of deconstructing old and creating the new. So whatever has happened in my life prior to today is still part of the old, and I'm always looking forward to creating the new, because I have new traditions, right? Like, instead of thinking of, Thanksgiving, this date now in my timeline will forever mark the time when I started live streaming. If that makes sense, right? It literally marks the time where I started this new chapter in my life, where I decided to start taking control and started to change the things that I wanted to see changed in my life for the betterment of me, my son, our lives together, and so much positivity was accomplished in this year, right? That's why I said you guys are gonna have to check another live stream so that we can get into the recap of all the things, because I'm gonna have to write some stuff down because I even forget of how many things have happened. But I do my best to always focus on the positives, because negatives are always gonna come. Focus on what you can control. Focus on the positives and make your every day as positive as you can. And I think I'm gonna leave it with that. I'm gonna check it says you are right, time does matter, every moment is precious. That was poetic. Thank you. And this is Latina Stream Queen, so this is Marga's new channel. She switched over. Super cool. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate all of you guys for spending your time here with me. It really does mean a lot to me. Like John was saying, like that, the fact that he looks forward to a Saturday live stream on Thursday, dude, that really gets me in the feels right here. So as always, thank you all for being so freaking awesome and spending your time here with me. It does mean everything. It means the world to me, and I can't thank you guys enough. But with that being said, we're going to be doing this all over again next Saturday, and next Saturday is going to be week 52. So we're going to see how we're going to do this. One thing that I'm going to guarantee is that it's going to happen. We're going to be here doing it all over again, week 52 of the Camera Junkie live stream. You can see the smile on my face. I'm super ecstatic. I can't wait. I'm going to see what happens. And then, you know what's going to happen after that? Week 53, which is also going to be like amazing, right? Because who knows what's going to happen. I can't wait. It's only a week away. So with that, guys, I will leave that for tonight. Thank you as always. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week. And have a great week, because I will see you guys here next Saturday, same time, same place, 10:55 p.m. Eastern, and 11 o'clock we get things started. So thank you as always for your time. Oh, Jackie's here saying you are a rock star. Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, John says awesome words, love staying positive. You have to, man. You have to. There's so much negativity, right? I'm gonna leave you with this, because this is the understanding that I have of how our minds work and how we have to program our minds for the positive. Okay, and I mentioned this to a lot of people. So let me just go through these comments to make sure. It says live streaming is the catalyst, man. The law of attraction is real. I hope you have a good night, brother. Had a good time. Thank you. And everybody's saying good night. Having said you too, love you. Okay, so I'm gonna leave you with this. Okay, I'm not gonna check the comments. I'm literally just so that you guys understand. Our minds are confirmation biased machines, and they will only do what we tell them to do. So for example, we've all probably all of us have bought a used car in our lives, let it be our first or whatever. And what happens is that as soon as we purchase said used car, it wasn't ours before, but now that it's ours and that we own it, we start seeing that car everywhere on the road. And we start getting this confirmation bias, like, hey, I made the right choice. Not only did I pick this car, but a lot of people picked the same car, and even in the same color. And it's this phenomenon that people don't understand. Why is it that now that they've purchased the car, they see it everywhere? The reason why is because the programming was not in your mind. The vehicle was always there. It was just blind because you didn't have the correct programming to seek it out. But now that you have purchased said used vehicle, you know the programming of that vehicle because you've looked at it with a different angle. You looked at it with a different eye. You know every style line on it. You know every shape. You know what it feels like to sit inside of the vehicle. And you know what it is to look for that vehicle when you leave a restaurant or anything like that, that you know the aesthetics, so that when you like, oh, I remember I parked my car here. And all of those things are now programmed into your mind. And because that programming is there, you're now able to see those things in the real world. Because when you go hit the road, you're able to see your car pop up everywhere because you're able to recognize it. It's just like understanding a new language. Now that you have the code and the programming, you're able to decipher that out of your reality. If you decide to do something different, like maybe watch the 6 o'clock news, and you only program your mind with the negative things that happen out there in the world that you do not have control over, such and such person died, or such and such person was in an accident and stuff, and you only program your mind with the negativity that's out there in the world, when you go out in your daily commute and you go out to experience the reality, your mind will only confirm the things that you programmed it with. Just like if it was the used vehicle, you only see the negative things in the reality, because that's what you have programmed your mind to do. And your mind is only going to confirm, hey, you remember seeing this on TV? Here it is in reality. Hey, you see this? So if you understand that you have control over this, then you remove the negativity that you can program your mind with, and you only program it with the positivity. And I will tell you, it's going to change your life, because when you go outside of your door and you start experiencing reality, your mind is only going to confirm to you what you program it with. So if you program it with positivity, you will only be reciprocated with said positivity, and you will only see the potential and the awesomeness that is every day. But if you already go in there with a negative mindset, I'm telling you, you're doomed from the get-go. And that's kind of like that old saying, like, hey, somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. They woke up on the wrong side of their mind. So stay positive and confirm your positive bias when you go experience the reality that we all share. So I'll leave it with that. Guys, you guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. I'm going to check the comments again because I just see Kevin popped in here, man. Everyone's saying good night, good night, good night. Ecamm Junkie year. Thank you. Thank you, Gretchen. It says night all. Great stream, Lewis. It says to you too. It says hello. Can't stay, but wanted to say hello. All right, Kevin. That was just literally like the final touch on this. Did everyone remember to hit that like button? Yeah. So if you forgot, because I kind of forgot myself to mention it, I appreciate it. And good night, says Kevin. And that's where we'll leave it. Guys, you guys rock. You guys are awesome. Every single one of you. See you next week. Enjoy your meals. Enjoy your family. And make the most of your everyday. Because it's all we got. So, enjoy it. And we'll see you next week. And there's the outro. Boom.